I want to right every wrong.
Together as one, we can right every wrong.
I want to right every wrong.
Together as one,
We can right every wrong.
I want to right every wrong. And together as one, we all can right every wrong.
I want to right every wrong.
Together as one, we can right every wrong.
I want to right every wrong, and together as one, we can right every wrong.
I want to right every wrong.
And together as one, we can right every wrong.
I want to right every wrong. Together as one, we can right every wrong.
Hi, I'm Tavleen Mendirata and I'm a Rex Karmaveer Global Fellow.
I'm Dr. Meenu Chopra and I'm a Rex Fellow.
Hi, I'm Deepika Narayan Bhardwaj. I'm a Rex Fellow.
My name is Ishita Katyal. I am a Rex Fellow.
We have Dr. Raman Venkatesh. Dr. Venkatesh is going to speak about India's water crisis, challenges and ideas and solutions.
I want to talk to you today about a topic that everybody thinks they know very well, but there is a lot of information that's out there that's misleading, and sometimes it's the topic that we think we know best that we know so little about. I want to tell you that in water, first of all, more than 1 billion years ago, whatever the amount of water that existed in the world is exactly the same amount that exists today. Nature doesn't create any new water. So everything is recycled. So yesterday, I think it was Mr. Kaikini who said that somebody passes urine years later, it ends up in somebody else's bottle. Actually, it's quite true. Just that it doesn't happen so directly, it happens indirectly. So water is a subject that we think we understand the best. We understand very well because it's so common, but there's a lot of things out there in water that we don't know. And less than 0.1% of the world's water is available for drinking. So something we have to keep in mind about how we handle water. It's also been told that water would be more important than oil. In fact, the next world war might be on water. So, you know, a picture says 1,000 words. This is a picture that explains how India is growing. It was captured nicely by The Economist. And everything that we are doing in our country here regarding water represents the skewed picture. On one hand, the statistics would have you believe that India's poverty is declining. That's great news. But then every time that we bring more and more people out of poverty, the need for water actually increases. This has been proven. A lot of studies show that. And India is already under tremendous stress. I mean, we are moving from stress to scarcity in water. So everything we do, everything we must do, whether we are a corporate, whether we are an NGO, whether we are an individual citizen of this country, we have to be cognizant of this. The situation is dire. Another sad thing about water is, in addition to being the biggest scarcity or availability of water being a big factor, the quality of water is also undergoing enormous reduction. As a result, people in emerging economies, especially India, are paying a heavy toll for drinking contaminated water. More than 15 million deaths every year is contributed due to contaminated water. You look at, when you talk about water in our economy, in our kind of environment, the situation in terms of distribution is pretty bad. There's a lot of things we need to do about it. But the solution to this exists in the form of what we as individuals and governments, as corporates, as well as NGOs coming together can achieve. And that's what it's all about. An average person needs about 135 liters per day. Many parts of India, we don't even get half of that. And that's the reality that we have to live with. And India is the only country in the world, only country, I should say, among both developing and developed economies that spends the least amount of money on water resources. And it's highly correlatable to the amount of importance we give to development as a whole. And this is a real situation, and it's not talked about much. So we have 3 problems in India. One is availability, second is quality, and third is sanitation. Sanitation is absolutely related to that. So what do we do as individuals, as corporates, as any group? What we need really is a holistic solution, something that we can look at together and not piecemeal. Our view is we have one solution that we as a company have piloted and have experimented with, and we believe it's sustainable. We call it a smart village. What we do is a combination of systems and solutions that we put together that takes care of drinking water availability, quality, recycle of that wastewater so that it comes back in the right form, and in various forms it also provides in some cases employment to people in villages. This is something that we've been working with because we don't want to come up with a piecemeal solution. So we've been working on something that is sustainable. We have piloted a system, we call them community water plants. It allows a person or allows a community to get safe drinking water right in the village. They don't have to walk 5-10 kilometers to get water that is also of poor quality. Here this water is actually absolutely safe, and it in fact meets the world's best standards for drinking. And the capacities are variable, and this is just a small picture of it over there that you see. And a lot of people have benefited from it. And I'm here to say that we made a small beginning as a corporate and also as an individual here. It's a passion of mine. 256 units of these are in villages across India operating as we speak. We have treated approximately 5 million liters of water. And we are handling about 5 million liters of water per day in all these systems. And I think it's clearly it's fair to say that looking at the reaction of the people who have been using and benefiting from this, it's not only saves them from diseases and a lot of issues related to that, it also saves a lot of time in their daily chores and gives them ensures safe water. So I want to say that this is an opportunity, and there are slums and rural areas where this is implemented. You're welcome to visit them. And where we need help is, we need more such solutions. So I want to say that if I want to end my talk with a little appeal, if you're an NGO, if you're an interested player who want to work with us, we'll provide the technology, we provide the solutions, you provide the access, you provide the ground level support and activation to make this happen. It can be a win-win for India's villages. Thank you very much.
We could support you in all aspects of drinking water related issues for South India. And I am from Hyderabad. And we started this Rice Bucket Challenge, and we have many NGOs who are interested in taking this initiative forward. Now coming to the basic problems that faced by South India is about the storage and not about the usage of water. The issue is more about the storage of water than the usage of water in South. Thank you.
My question is on after purification, what are the contents that are, the minerals that are available in the water that is purified?
Minerals are retained in the process. The short answer is that we ensure the right balance is maintained so that it's not depleted completely.
Myself, Jatin Kataria. So our group is a vertical called We Our Rural World, and currently we are working in a village where health is a big issue. And the main reason behind this is water. Now, water is I have questioned into the system thinking process. Village is a water purification problem. Even they find fishes in drinking water as well. But the another problem is this city has the biggest chlorination plant through which water comes to the western part of Gujarat. Right, so that plant itself has a problem. So can you help us into two verticals? One is into solving the problem of water in that village itself, and another is there is a lot of stuffs are happening into the purification center because it's a huge money involved, and I feel a lot of corporate laundering and other things are happening. Yeah, so can you help us in both ways? One is water purification, and another is dealing with the government and trying to resolve the issue of the complete western side of Gujarat.
We are open to partnering with the government on any and every matter. In fact, I was personally involved in the national water policy discussion and formulation. I want to say one thing here, that we started this not with CSR or charity in mind. We wanted to start this as a sustainable business model.
I'm very happy and proud of that, because I think that's what all companies should do.
Because if the moment you convert this into a CSR and a charity, it takes on a completely different flavor. We want to empower the village, we want to empower the community to make a difference for themselves. And once they see the value, I have 256 examples to show you, but in the plants, once they see the value, trust me, they take care of it excellently.
I want to tell you that every morning when I pass morning ablution, I feel sad. Because the flush which I use is actually containing a lot of fresh water. Is there any system where when I'm taking bath, can actually be recycled into that thing, and that I use as a flush or something like that?
Most of the conservation efforts should happen right at the usage level. Though we can come up with systems post-installation in your home, the best use is right at the installation level. There are these low flush toilets that are available that use far less water than they really need. So it really, if you take action right at that moment of each device or each appliance being used, 80% of the problem is solved right there.
Sir, then you have left it actually to public to do it on their own. I want that whether you can invent something which is easier to be implanted there.
Yes, it's also possible to do that, but again that involves an infrastructure change right in your house. It is possible. The answer is it's possible.
Hi, great initiative. You mentioned that when people move up the poverty line, they consume a lot more water than poor people do. So I'm curious to know why you started out with villages and not really tackle the issue in the urban in cities first.
The problem, what I've described in the short talk is actually what's going on in what we've tried to do in villages and communities. There is a lot of work that we're doing also on in the urban area. In the urban areas, the situation is a bit different, where we find the best solutions tend to be lower cost point of use devices, what we call point of use, which means a small appliance that you can buy and you keep it in your house that takes care of all your water needs. The reason why water consumption increases with increased movement in the socio-economic ladder is, it's just like with any other commodity, right? When your affordability goes up, the value of a particular commodity goes down. So therefore you tend to use more of it, or you care less about its availability and wastage.
I think your talk raised some very important points, and a thing that we all need to think very seriously about is the fact that we are now pushing for more and more toilets, and one company alone can donate 36 crore for toilets. But where is the water going to come from for these toilets? And this can actually have a very, very negative impact, because if a village agrees to take a toilet and then they don't have water to drink as a result of it, you will never get the opportunity to try that again, ever. So what can we do about this? Obviously it's a government issue, but what can we do?
One area is in the, Jyoti, that's a good question. I want to say that in the smart village concept, if you saw that flow sheet that I put up, there is a provision for using the wastewater from the treatment plant back into a community toilet. And if you integrate water solutions with sanitation and you do them together, in my opinion, you can solve both problems at once. Because the output of this water, the wastewater from the community water treatment, can be reused back into the toilets. And this is the mechanism that I think has found success in quite a number of applications, and people understand that in the end, you're adding value in both sides, both in providing safe drinking water and taking care of sanitation.
I did a project with Wipro. It was creating water sustainability in water. So I left out a question. The question was that government pleads to us to save water. But when at a private level, some company wants to set up, so government does not provide us approve us the license to set up that plant or project. So I want that we as a social worker, what should we do? What should we ask for the government to provide us the license, to approve us the license for such projects?
See, one of the biggest challenges as individual or social workers have in approaching the government is they ask for prior success stories. They ask for case studies, and which very often small NGOs are unable to provide. But this is where a corporate like us can help you. When you provide the local access, we can take care of all the system and all of that, and we provide the credibility in terms of history and performance, so that the government is willing to listen. So it's a public-private partnership in a true sense.
This is just something about the water. You said that when you flush, too much water goes. My father taught me when I was a kid a very simple trick is you fill up a bottle of water, a plastic bottle with water, open the back of the tank and put it in. That means that when you flush, the volume of water will be lesser because you have occupied half of it. So there you have an easy solution at home. So
this is a very good, I would say, a very innovative solution just to control your existing flush. Just put a level indicator, just put a higher level, so less water is used.
Is there any provision by these your Eureka Force or RO companies whatever water we are using at home which is not being treated, which is going as wastewater, to use that water as well? Because 60% of water goes waste in the homes.
Correct.
Homes.
In the RO system, you're absolutely right. What we recommend people is, this is where we say that there are two ways of reusing that water. One is it can go back into other household uses. One, it can be collected and used for cleaning of vessels. It can be used for bathrooms. It can be used for gardening. Any number of these uses is okay, and people have done that. And another way is, I would say, don't blindly buy an RO, buy based on what your water actually demands. So that's why we always recommend you buy the right product for actually what your water needs, and not just listen to advertisements. And the best way to get started is to get the water tested, which very few people do. They go in and they imagine something that looks nice in a retail shop, and they decide to buy.
I'm working in Uttarakhand in the hills. I just want to ask you, people over there face a big challenge of irrigating their fields. Although there are perennial rivers, so they don't have enough water to irrigate their fields, and they also don't have access to clean potable water. All that they get is from the springs, etc. They feel that it's good enough, but the main challenge is how to get water for their fields. Do you have any solution for that?
Yeah. First of all, we believe in, everybody does a small part in solving a large problem, right? This initiative we started was, let's address it one community at a time, one village at a time. That was the approach that we took. And when each one gets addressed in that manner, then in the process of addressing it, we learn a lot. I mean, we learn a lot of how we can perhaps address a larger problem. Irrigation, providing water in safe water, or I'd say access to water in arid lands, is a big challenge. Because the biggest cost of this is actually not in the water treatment. The biggest cost is providing the water from wherever it is. It can be 100 kilometers or 500 kilometers away in some cases. Getting that water to that arid region is the biggest cost, and that's what is the challenge. We don't have a solution yet, but we are welcome to discuss any ideas that you might have.
One small insight is consume less. I realized when I was doing the work, animals take away a lot of water which are used for slaughter. So if you turn vegetarian, you're saving at least 70% of water. One. Absolutely. And the next thing is that when you consume less, use only one plate and one spoon. 12 liters of water is used to wash one plate.
You're absolutely right, madam. I just want to say, for what it's worth, I'm also a vegetarian. So.
Thank you.